Hi, I'm Chad from Chad DIY. In today's project, we're doing a wooden acoustic sound diffuser. Now what this does is it's supposed to kind of absorb sound. People put it, you see it in recording studios and it's on the walls. And so I kind of built this square foot example, and with these techniques you can kind of build one as big as you would like. So let's get started.
I'll first start my project by ripping all my 2x6s down to 1.5 inch length. 2x6s come with a rounded edge, so the first step is to take that rounded edge right off. Now I can adjust my table saw to a 1.5 inch setting. Now I can start ripping all my boards down. The idea between having them all 1.5 inches is that's the standard size of a 2x6 width. So once I am done, I end up with a 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch square. Next I can start cross-cutting all the wood squares down to certain sizes. I've decided to cut them down to 3 main sizes, which are 1.5 inches, 3.5 inches, and 5.5 inches. Next I can start sanding all the pieces that I cut. If you don't have a power sander, don't worry about it, you can always just do this by hand. It'll work just as well, but it'll just take a little bit longer. Next I'll start making my square corner jig for my glue up. To do this, I'm just screwing in a couple boards to the corner of my workbench. If you don't have a workbench like this, you could always just use a sheet of plywood and use the same technique. Next I can start gluing up all the blocks of the wood diffuser. What I'm using to do this is just a little tube of liquid nails, and I'm also adding 2-inch brad nails to hold everything in place while the glue dries. The brad nails probably aren't completely necessary, but it does help a little. I'm just using a random pattern of blocks, and I'm just trying not to get the same size blocks right next to each other. By following this simple pattern, you can really make this as big as you want. And here I'm wrapping up with my square foot sample piece.
All right, and hopefully that kind of gives you the basic idea of how to build one of these guys. Of course, you can build it as big as you want using these same techniques. I just kind of did this square foot cube just for example more than anything. A few tips that I learned along the way is when you're cutting these the cubes or whatever you want to call them on the table saw, it's really hard to get them exactly 1.5 inches because that's what, like, the 2x4s, the width is 1.5 inches. So trying to flip it around and get both sides 1.5 inches is a little tough. Just cut it on the table saw. So as I was gluing everything up, it was kind of starting to get a little crooked as I went along. One way to cure this is I could have flipped it around and maybe done a little less than 1.5 inches and ran both sides on the table saw so everything was square. Also, I have a planer. I could have ran everything through the planer, both sides, so everything is perfectly square. Going forward, if I was going to do a big wall piece, I'd go that route. I also, if I was going to really do it for a big kind of showpiece, probably would have done like a hardwood instead of this is just kind of pine, you know, just cheap 2x6 is what I use. That would be another way to kind of dress it up a little bit as well. So if you have any questions at all on this project, you can always leave them in the comment section below, and I always try to answer those as soon as possible. But yeah, so I'm Chad from Chad DIY, and thanks for watching.